Well, good morning, and another day is upon us. It is June 20th, 2023, and this is DMS3000 News Live. I'm your host, Jason DeCanio, and we welcome you to another episode 5 here today. Today we have a great show lined up for you, and as always, we're going to start off with some of the headlines, get you into the MLB scores, your horoscopes for today. And then in the next hour, we're going to be looking at some of the things that are happening today. And of course, I am your host, Jason DeCanio. Today, we're going to be looking at the 48th anniversary of Jaws the movie. A happy 73rd birthday to Lionel Richie. We'll look at his wonderful career spanning over 4 decades, maybe even more, 5 decades to that. And then later on in the program, we'll look at, since this is summertime and getting close to the first day of summer, we'll look at the best beaches in every state. But right now, of course, we have the headlines, which we're going to look at first here. And here we go for today. A search is underway for a missing submersible that brings tourists to the Titanic. Yes, a submersible capable of taking tourists over 2 miles underwater to view the Titanic wreckage up close has gone missing. Yes, sad to say, unfortunately. And with the visit to China, Blinken clears a diplomatic path, but it's unclear where it goes. That's right, the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken's trip shows that the Biden administration is keen to reignite diplomacy and inject stability to its dealings with China, but whether it was a success remains to be seen. The Republican primary spending projected to approach or surpass $1 billion, and with a big field, a former president, well-heeled politicians, and 2 billionaires running, this is likely to be the most money ever spent to win the GOP presidential nomination. He once had motor skill challenges, and now he's the world's fastest Rubik's Cube solver. Yes, what puzzles most people, like solving a Rubik's Cube, makes sense to Max Park. And the world of speed cubing has helped the autistic 21-year-old crack the code on what might come easy to others. Some states are restricting abortion, others are spending millions to fund it. So nearly after a year after the Supreme Court allowed abortion bans around the country to take effect, some cities and states are pushing in the other direction, a new report finds. Power outages continue across the southern United States as a heat wave grips Texas, as more than 300,000 customers in the southern United States remain without power Monday, as the bulk of outages were in Oklahoma, where heavy weekend storms carried winds as strong as 80 miles per hour around Tulsa. And that is a look at the headlines for today. Let's see where we have also. Oh, we had some world headlines? Yeah, I think we've already done that. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So we've covered all the headlines today for it. And of course, you can follow us at the headlines at NPR News. Good morning, Cypress TV. Welcome to the David3000 Network and DSM3000 News Live. Okay, let's look at today's MLB page, as we have an interesting story as Luis Perez from the Miami Marlins. He raises his average back to 400 with a 5-for-5 game last night against the Toronto Blue Jays. Yeah, the last time the Marlins were 11 games over 500, they had a different name, uniform, and ballpark. Hit machine Luis Perez was playing Little League ball in San Felipe, Venezuela. Yuri Perez was 6 years old. And so 14 years later, the surging Marlins reached that benchmark by cruising to an 11-0 victory over the Blue Jays on Monday night at Lone Depot Park. Miami cranked out a season-high 19 hits for its 17th win in 22 games. Perez raised his average to 400 with a 5-for-5 performance. Jorge Soler smacked his 21st home run, and Brian Hoeing went 4 strong innings to open a bullpen game. I don't think it's a speech that I've ever made, first-time manager Skip Schumacher said. It's more the players that we've acquired and the staff that we have, that there's been a consistent message from day one that the expectation every day is to win. I don't think that goes away if you have a winning streak or losing streak, But there are so many games, and every day you walk in, you expect to get better. Win or lose, you try to get better, learn from that day, and move on to the next day. But there's always learning moments, teaching moments every single day, and these guys have bought in. Our staff has been excellent at prepping them, and win or lose, they're in the fight every day, and it feels good that at least they're in the fight no matter what happens. Well, there is Memorial Day has come and gone, and July 4th will be here before we know it. Major League Baseball's All-Star festivities, which include the MLB draft, will take place the following week, after which trade season will take center stage leading up to the August 1st trade deadline. But as teams continue to figure out their place in the postseason picture, and perhaps more importantly, whether front offices believe their teams are good enough to make a run should they reach October, scouts will continue to watch players around the league as they contemplate which players might help them accomplish their ultimate goals. And so we have 10 players listed alphabetically who have been putting on a show for those scouts, along with some contenders who might be some potential fits, like Scott Barlow and Aroldis Chapman. The Royals don't have a ton of everyday talent to move this summer, but Kansas City's bullpen should offer some prime opportunities to sell. Chapman has a solid rebound this season, and including a recent stretch of 11 outings during which he posted a 1.69 ERA with 23 strikeouts in 10 2/3 innings. You also have Shane Bieber. He's a right-handed pitcher for the Guardians. Jeimer Candelario, third baseman for the Nationals. Jack Flaherty, right-hand pitcher for the Cardinals. Lucas Giolito, right-hand pitcher for the White Sox. Jace Patterson, he'll be second or third baseman for the Athletics. And he might fit in the Astros, the Marlins, or the Twins. And Tommy Pham, who's now playing for the Mets, he has a 1-year, $6 million contract and has proven to be a good value for the Mets, who have gotten solid production from the 35-year-old, while several of their regulars have struggled at the plate. And since May 28th, Pham has had an eye-popping 1.141 OPS with a .352 average, 4 home runs and 18 RBIs in 16 games. But the Mets are going to have to rely on their stars if they hope to turn things around. If the season continues to get away from them, Pham is the ideal trade piece for a club that doesn't seem ready to blow anything up. There's Eduardo Rodriguez. He's from the Tigers. Marcus Stroman, who used to be with the Mets, now with the Cubs. Well, he might fare pretty good as well. And it's Joey Votto. He said upon his return from a 72-game stay on the injured list that was just trying to earn some playing time. Based on one game, Votto's job seems safe. He homered in the 5th inning and hit a go-ahead 2-run single in the 6th to lift the Reds to their 9th straight win, 5-4 over the Colorado Rockies before a crowd of 20,344 at Great American Ballpark on Monday night. The single came with the crowd chanting, "Joey, Joey, Joey." So with the victory and the Brewers' loss to the D-backs, the Reds at 38-35 move into first place. That's right, folks, first place in the National League Central. It's the Reds' longest winning streak since they won 10 in a row from July 19th to the 29th back in 2012. Go figure that one out. He says it was surprising, Votto said, about hearing the ovations he received from the fans. Not that I would ever underestimate them, but you don't expect that. I feel the same way towards them. For them to reciprocate means a great deal to me. It was a memorable experience. It was more than I expected. Said right fielder Nick Senzel, to have Votto back, that's special. That's a Hall of Famer right there. And Votto, who had surgery to repair his left rotator cuff and his biceps last August, was just happy to contribute. It was a long, daunting rehab, he said. You have your doubts. I mean, weeks or months ago, doubts. We're in a performance-based game. You have to perform. I expect to perform. It's intimidating when you have a surgery like that and you're an older player. Tonight was a good night for me. A very good night indeed. It was surreal, Kevin Newman said. To come back and affect the game like he did, I'm not going to forget tonight. So Votto has spent his career as the star of the Reds, as their best hitter, and Votto is usually hitting second or third in the lineup, But Monday night, Votto returned to the lineup, batting sixth, and he seemed perfectly okay with it. He says, I was just called up, he said prior to the game. I'm here to compete for a job, and that's my mentality. That's my attitude. Everything in this game is earned. I've been hungry since the day I entered this league. Nothing has changed. Now, sometimes you can sense you might need to guard your bowl, but I'm down for the challenge for sure, but it's always been that way. So with the win, the Reds now have gone from being in fourth place and 6 games back of first place to having sole position of first place in just 15 days. And before the game, Votto expressed how proud he was of the team, especially during this recent stretch. He says, I'm a Cincinnati Red. I was watching a team that is chasing an NL Central title. This is what our goal is. One step at a time, of course. And this is what we play for. As a Red, I see them tearing up the games. I'm excited for my guys. These are good dudes. They are so easy to cheer for. Nicely done. Amazing. So if you're a Reds fan, I know for a fact out there, you pretty much are shocked. But for how long can you stay into that position? That's the question for what it's worth. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. We wish you the best of luck, Cincinnati Reds. Well, Scherzer stifles Astros with vintage slider. Yeah, when a pitcher in his late 30s begins to struggle, the reasons can be difficult to deduce. It is the type of slump all players go through at points in their careers. It is the result of steady decline, a blip that will pass on the beginning of the end. Faced with these whispered questions Monday evening at Minute Maid Park, 6 days after one of the worst starts of his career, Max Scherzer gave the most emphatic answer he could. Prior to Monday, Scherzer had not pitched into the 8th inning of a game since joining the Mets. In an 11-1 drubbing of the Astros, that also included offensive breakouts for Francisco Lindor and Daniel Vogelbach, Scherzer completed 8 strong innings to quiet talk of his issues. It's our job to go out there and pitch deep, Scherzer said. Frankly, I haven't been doing that the past couple of starts. So Scherzer set out about changing that trend against a team that, despite a relative downturn, remains one of the league's noteworthy offenses. The most impactful piece of Scherzer's renaissance was his slider, which he often describes as his bread and butter pitch. It was the slider that had betrayed Scherzer during his last start, hanging over the heart of the strike zone during crucial moments. Against the Yankees, Scherzer threw 17 sliders and generated just 1 whiff. 6 days later, he threw 31 of them with 7 swings and misses. He executed his slider a lot better. Catcher Francisco Alvarez said through an interpreter, a lot better. So for Scherzer, the fix was relatively simple. Earlier this month, he tweaked the arm action on his changeup, hoping to make that perfect pitch more consistent. And when the adjustment worked, Scherzer tried to apply the same fix to his slider. That had the opposite effect, prompting him to revert to his old mechanics on both pitches. And just like that, the old slider was back in plain to see on consecutive swinging strikes against Jose Altuve to record his first out of the night on back-to-back strikeouts of Jose Abreu and Yanner Diaz in the 2nd inning, and so on and so forth. And although Scherzer allowed his only run on a slider when Diaz homered with 1 out in the 7th, he wasn't displeased with the quality of that pitch. He remained confident in it. 2 batters later, Scherzer followed a sharp inside slider to Jeremy Pena with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside corner to freeze him. Well, all I got to say in this case, since I am the Mets avid reporter here, I must say the Mets have weakened up the Astros a little bit. And hey, Jester, hey, man, good morning to you. I feel like we're bumping heads for the first time today on it, and we're not even on the dugout crew. I may have to go in and see you guys on Thursday afternoon at 5 o'clock to give my report of a whooping of the Astros. But, well, if you guys say they're without the key players, maybe, but your record doesn't really show it, you know? That's what, again, we said at the beginning of the season. If this is what I say about teams who play the Mets. if you've got a record that is better than us, but you can't go in there and hold that record, then I don't know who's playing who or what is playing with who. We don't really know. So as we go into this at 34-38 into the second game of this 3-game series against the Astros, I would like to say that Justin Verlander is going to pitch tonight. I must say, if it's going to be another ousting, we may be able to gain some ground on some teams, hopefully, just like the Reds. We'll see what happens. I don't know, but let's go ahead and give the rest of the scores of baseball here. Those were the highlights that I looked at that seemed pretty good. Here are the rest of the baseball scores. There was the Cardinals over the Nationals 8-6. The Tigers beat the Royals 6-4. Marlins 11. Blue Jays Zippo laid a donut in that. Wow. Marlins are on a tear right now at 42-31, guys. 11 games over 500 and chasing the Braves, right? Cubs beat the Pirates 8-0 as the Pirates continued to slip. And then because of that, the Reds beating the Rockies 5-4, like we said at the beginning of the program here, they take first place in the NL Central. It was the Boston Red Sox 9, the Twins 3. Like I said, the Mets over the Astros 11-1 in a slap fest. Texas 5, White Sox 2. The D-backs continued their domination in the NL West with a 9-1 victory over the Brewers. And it was the Giants over the Padres 7-4, with the Giants continuing to try to win some games in that NL West. And speaking of that NL West, that's a tough division. We've always said that the NL West is one of those divisions that the Dodgers have dominated for years and years and years. Well, not this year, folks, because right now the Arizona Diamondbacks are proving that they are a team to beat in that division. So look out for the Arizona Diamondbacks because you really just don't know what is going on. All right? So with that, let's look at our horoscopes for today. Our general daily horoscope from Tarot.com has this for June 20th, 2023. Everyone's feelings are tumbling around currently, like we're caught in an emotional washing machine. Our hearts take the lead as the moon starts out in Cancer, and her first move will be a supportive sextile to rebellious Uranus, encouraging us to think outside the box. Fantastical dreams may grow quite large when Luna then trines dreamy Neptune, followed by an intensifying opposition to Pluto. She will finally enter outgoing Leo at 6:04 p.m., so a quiet night likely won't be in the cards. All righty. Well, I tell you, and that's all. Pretty much all we do is we'll just give you the general and daily insight. And if you are more interested in horoscopes, you can go to Tarot.com, click on the appropriate sign that is your birth sign, look at the horoscope, and find out what's going on in your neck of the woods. All right? Speaking of necks of the woods here, let's look at the Weather Channel real quick and give you a weather report. We didn't give you one on yesterday, so we're going to go ahead and I want to give the we've got an unusual tropical storm. Brett could become a rare kind of June hurricane. Oh boy. Remember, folks, it is hurricane season here in Florida, so we've got that threat as always. Our national forecast today has pretty good temperatures in the Northeast right now, looking at lows upper 60s to probably around the upper 70s, 60s to 70s in the Northeast. In the Southeast, we've got upper 70s to the 80s, upper 80s. It's going to be 91 in St. Louis today, folks, but that doesn't even count coming close. Houston, Texas, San Antonio, Phoenix, and Lubbock in Texas, all in Brownsville. You guys are going to be in the hundreds today. El Paso, 102. Woo! Smoking hot today in Texas. If I was you, I'd stay inside and just kind of stay cool today. Keep that air conditioner going. In the Northwest, Seattle is going to be a high of only 59 degrees today. 59. My goodness. You guys are really playing like it's like you have winter all over there in the corner of the state, of the left part of the state. In California, you got 60s and 70s all across the board there. Salt Lake City, 70 degrees. Vegas is only going to get to 92 today, where Vegas usually gets in the hundreds. They're not even close today. Phoenix is actually going to be hotter than them. And if you're in LA today, you're only going to have a high of 75. So stretching it out a little bit, not too bad. But again, like I say, the weather is going to play very interesting parts as we enter. We're 20 days already and now into hurricane season. So we'll, and I've said before, folks, you know, hurricanes are a major part of our weather forecast and their system. It's a part of life. It helps us get rid of all that humidity. If we have one storm, just one storm a year, one major storm, I know the damage is what everybody worries about, but you got to think in terms of the great winters that we have in the states that really do get hot, like Florida and Texas. They really do cool down in October through February. So you have to kind of figure and think to yourself, man, if that hurricane comes, I can get another 30-degree drop. And I might be able to also have 60s and 70s instead of 90s and 100s in my forecast, which is probably true. All right. Well, we're coming up to 22 minutes before the bottom of the hour, and we're going to get you looking at it. Like I said, we're going to look at that 48th anniversary of the Jaws, the movie. We'll look at that historic movie, give you the plots, the twists, and everything else. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to look at a happy 73rd birthday to Lionel Richie. Yes, he's been around a long time, 73 years. Today is his birthday. We wish him a very happy birthday. We'll also look at his illustrious career with the Commodores and his solo career. We also have maybe Brandon Martin coming on today. I'm not sure if he gets up, but if he doesn't, we'll look at the best beaches in every state in the 9:30 hour, half hour. All right. We're going to be right back and take a break and get you, get a cup of coffee, you know, and some other great stuff. And when we come back, DMS 3000 News Live continues right after this.
Pizza Hut's stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half-pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, just $12.99. Only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
McDonald's hotcakes for breakfast. Fresh cooked and deliciously light. Served with whipped butter and syrup. Moorish. And only $1.95.
Snack time, McDonald's. Snack time.
Hello?
Get Jason warming up.
Excuse me?
Come on, guys, quit playing games. Get Bobby up right now.
I think you might have the wrong number.
What? Who's this?
Who's this? Brother, you called me. You got the wrong number,
Hey,
okay?
I don't know what you guys doing.
Freak.
This is Brad. He's using Roadrunner High-Speed Online to play along with Game Show Network's lingo on GSN.com. He got it for just $34.95 a month for 6 months. Brad hasn't left his room since. When Brad signed up for Roadrunner, he was entered to win a 51-inch Sony high-def TV. And they're trying to deliver it now.
Hey, Brad, open the door.
Sign up for Roadrunner today. You'll save money and have a chance to win one of these great Sony prizes from Game Show Network.
At Cheez-It, we expect a lot from our cheese.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cheese.
Interrupting.
Cheese!
Should have seen that one coming.
You should have, because that was... I even told you I was going to be interrupting you. Morning, sir. Beautiful day, isn't it?
We take the time for our cheese to mature before we bake it into every delicious cracker. Because at Cheez-It, real cheese matters.
Night and day, the calls. Save me this, save me that. I'm a gecko, not Geico. So stop calling me.
Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
So you want to change your name? People confusing you with Geico, calling you at all hours? What name would you like?
Komodo Dragon, please.
Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Hey, Guy Fieri here. As host of TV's Ultimate Recipe Showdown, I see great home cooks face off every week. We looked at thousands of recipes, and now the dishes inspired by our champions are all at Fridays. People spent years perfecting these. There's so much going on here. Smokiness, sweetness, big seasoning, big flavor. You gotta check this out. Ultimate Recipe Showdown menu starting at just $8.99. Give me more Fridays.
From Hasbro Gaming. Where will your choices take you in the game of life? What job will you choose?
To start filling my law firm with clients and stop filling your faces with donuts. Now get out! I'm definitely going to be a lawyer.
But watch out for life surprises.
Whoa, I'm having twins.
Congratulations! It's twins! Anything can happen in the game of life. From Hasbro Gaming. Here's 2 more. Good luck with that.
Xiaomei. 48 years ago, the American thriller film directed by Steven Spielberg, Jaws, based on the 1974 novel by Peter Benchley, stars Roy Schneider as the police chief Martin Brody, who, with the help of marine biologist Richard Dreyfuss and a professional shark hunter Robert Shaw, hunts a man-eating great white shark that attacks beachgoers at a summer resort town. Now, Murray Hamilton plays the mayor, and Lorraine Gary portrays Brody's wife. The screenplay is credited to Benchley, who wrote the first drafts, and actor-writer Carl Godeleb, who rewrote the script during the principal photography. Shot mostly on location at Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts, Jaws was the first major motion picture to be shot on the ocean and consequently had a troubled production, going over budget and schedule. And as the art department's mechanical sharks often malfunction, Spielberg decided mostly to suggest the shark's presence, employing an ominous and minimalist theme created by composer John Williams to indicate its impending appearances. Spielberg and others have compared this suggestive approach to that of director Alfred Hitchcock. And Universal Pictures' release over the film to over 450 screens was an exceptionally wide release for a major studio picture at the time, and it was accompanied by an extensive marketing campaign that heavily emphasized television spots and tie-in merchandise. Regarded as a watershed moment in motion picture history, Jaws was the prototypical summer blockbuster and won several awards for its music and editing. And it was the highest grossing film of all time until the release of Star Wars 2 years later. Both films were pivotal in establishing the modern Hollywood business model, which pursues high box office returns from action and adventure films with simple, high-concept premises. Released during the summer in thousands of theaters and advertised heavily, Jaws was followed by 3 sequels, none of which involved Spielberg or Benchley, and many imitative thrillers. And then in 2001, the Library of Congress selected it for preservation in the United States National Film Registry. Well, we all know the plot. In the New England beach town of Amity Island, a young woman, Chrissy Watkins, goes skinny dipping in the ocean one evening during a beachside party. And while she is treading water, an unseen force attacks her and pulls her under the water. The next day, her partial remains are found on shore. And after the medical examiner concludes she was the victim of a shark attack, Police Chief Martin Brody decides to close the beaches, but Mayor Larry Vaughn persuades him to reconsider, fearing that the town's summer economy will be ruined. So the coroner tentatively concurs with the mayor's theory that Christie was killed in a boating accident, and Brody reluctantly accepts their conclusion until the shark kills a young boy, Alex Kintner, in front of a crowded beach. A bounty is placed on the shark, causing an amateur shark hunting frenzy, and eccentric and roughened local professional shark fisherman Quint offers his services for $10,000. Meanwhile, consulting oceanographer Matt Hooper examines Chrissy's remains, confirming that an abnormally large shark killed her. And when local fishermen catch a tiger shark, the mayor proclaims that the beach is safe. Mrs. Kintner, Alex's mother, confronts Brody and blames him for her son's death. Hooper doubts that the tiger shark is responsible for the attacks, and his suspicions are confirmed when no human remains are found inside its stomach after the dissection. And Hooper and Brody find a half-sunken vessel while searching the night waters in Hooper's boat. Underwater, Hooper removes a sizable great white shark's tooth from the boat's hull and accidentally drops it after discovering the partial corpse of a local fisherman, Ben Gardner. Vaughn dismisses Brody and Hooper's assertions that a huge great white shark caused the deaths and refuses to close the beaches, allowing only increased safety precautions. On the 4th of July weekend, tourists packed the beaches. Following a juvenile prank with a fake shark, the real shark enters a nearby lagoon, killing a boater and causing Brody's oldest son, Michael, to go into shock. Brody then convinces a guilt-ridden Vaughn to immediately hire Quint. And despite the tension between Quint and Hooper, they set out with Brody on Quint's boat, the Orca, to hunt the shark. And while Brody lays down a chum line, Quint waits for an opportunity to hook the shark. Interesting. And you know the whole story. At the end, they eventually get him with the boat and do all of that fun stuff to try to make you feel like you're in a really, really scary movie. Jaws is. Well, Richard D. Zonick and David Brown, the producers at Universal Pictures, independently heard about Peter Benchley's novel Jaws. And Brown came across it in the literature section of lifestyle magazine Cosmopolitan, then edited by his wife, Helen Gurley Brown. A small card written by the magazine's book editor gave a detailed description of the plot, concluding with the comment, "Might make a good movie." The producers read the book over the course of a single night and agreed the next morning that it was the most exciting thing that they have ever read, and that they wanted to produce a film version, although they were unsure how it would be accomplished. They purchased the film rights in 1973 before the book's publication for approximately $175,000. That's about the equivalent to about $1,150,000 in 2022. And Brown claimed that they had read the book twice, and they would never have made the film because they would have realized how difficult it would be to execute certain sequences. To direct, Zanuck and Brown first considered veteran filmmaker John Sturges, whose resume included another maritime adventure, The Old Man in the Sea, before offering the job to Dick Richards, whose directorial debut, The Culpeper Cattle Company, had come out the previous year. They soon grew irritated by Richards' habit of describing the shark as a whale and dropped him from the project. Meanwhile, Steven Spielberg very much wanted the job. The 26-year-old had just directed his first theatrical film, The Sugar Land Express, for Zanuck and Brown. And at the end of a meeting in their office, Spielberg noticed their copy of the still unpublished Benchley novel, and after reading it, was immediately captivated. He later observed that it was similar to his 1971 television film Duel, in that both deal with these Leviathans targeting every man. He also revealed in the making of Jaws, the documentary on the 2012 DVD release, that he directed or directly referenced Duel by repurposing the sound of the truck being destroyed as the death roar of the shark. After Richards' departure, the producers signed Spielberg to direct in June of 1973, before the release of The Sugar Land Express. Before production began, Spielberg grew reluctant to continue with Jaws in fear of becoming typecast as the truck and shark director. He wanted to move over to 20th Century Fox's Lucky Lady instead, but Universal exercised its right under its contract with the director to veto his departure. And Brown helped convince Spielberg to stick with the project, saying that after Jaws, you can make all the films you want. The film was given an estimated budget of $3.5 million and a shooting schedule of 55 days. Principal photography was set to begin in May of 1974, and Universal wanted the shoot to finish by the end of June, when the major studio's contract with the Screen Actors Guild was due to expire, to avoid any disruptions due to a potential strike. For the screen adaptation, Spielberg wanted to stay with the novel's basic plot, but discarded many of Benchley's subplots. He declared that his favorite part of the book was the shark hunt on the last 120 pages, and told Zanuck when he accepted the job, "I'd like to do the picture if I could change the first two acts and base the first two acts on original screenplay material, and then be very true to the book for the last third." When the producers purchased the rights to his novel, they promised Benchley that he could write the first draft of the screenplay. The intent was to make sure a script could be done despite an impending threat of the Writers Guild strike, given Benchley was not unionized. Overall, he wrote 3 drafts before the script was turned over to other writers. Delivering his final version to Spielberg, he declared, "I'm written out on this, and that's the best I can do." Benchley later described his contribution to the finished film as the storyline and the ocean stuff, basically the mechanics, given he didn't know how to put the character texture into a screenplay. And one of his changes was to remove the novel's adulterous affair between Ellen Brody and Matt Hooper at the suggestion of Spielberg, who feared it would compromise the camaraderie of between the men on the Orca. During the film's production, Benchley agreed to return and play a small on-screen role as a reporter. Spielberg, who felt that the characters in Benchley's script were still unlikable, invited the young screenwriter John Burham to do a rewrite, but he declined the offer. Columbo creators William Link and Richard Levinson also declined Spielberg's invitation. Tony and Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Howard Sackler was in Los Angeles when the filmmakers began looking for another writer and offered to do an uncredited rewrite. And since the producers and Spielberg were unhappy with Benchley's drafts, they quickly agreed. At the suggestion of Spielberg, Brody's characterization made him afraid of water, coming from an urban jungle to find something more terrifying off this placid island near Massachusetts. Spielberg wanted some levity in Jaws, humor that would avoid making it a dark sea hunt. So he turned to his friend Carl Gottlieb, a comedy writer-actor then working on the sitcom The Odd Couple. Spielberg sent Gottlieb a script asking what the writer would charge and if there was a role he would be interested in performing. Godoleb sent Spielberg 3 pages of notes and picked the part of Meadows, the politically connected editor of the local paper. He passed the audition 1 week before Spielberg took him to meet the producers regarding a writing job. And while the deal was initially for a 1-week dialogue polish, Godoleb eventually became the primary screenwriter, rewriting the entire script during a 9-week period of principal photography. The script for each scene was typically finished the night before it was shot, after Godoleb had dinner with Spielberg and members of the cast and crew to decide what would go into the film. Many pieces of dialogue originated from the actors' improvisations during these meals. A few were created on set, and John Milius contributed dialogue, polishes, and Sugarland Express writer Matthew Robbins and Hal Barwood also made uncredited contributions. Spielberg has claimed that he prepared his own draft, although it is unclear to what degree the other screenwriters drew on his material. One specific alteration he called for in the story was to change the cause of the shark's death from extensive wounds to a scuba tank explosion, and as he felt audiences would respond better to a big, rousing ending. The director estimated the final script had a total of 27 scenes that were not in the book. Benchley had written Jaws after reading about sport fisherman Frank Mundus's capture of an enormous shark in 1964. And according to Godoleb, Quint was loosely based on Mundus, whose book Sport Fishing for Sharks he read for research. Sackler came up with the backstory of Quint as a survivor of the World War II USS Indianapolis disaster. The question of who deserves the most credit for writing Quint's monologue about the Indianapolis has caused substantial controversy. You see, Spielberg described it as a collaboration between Sackler, Milius, and actor Robert Shaw, who was also a playwright. And according to the director, Milius turned Sackler's 3/4 of a page speech into a monologue, and that was then written by Shaw. Godoleb gives primary credit to Shaw, downplaying Milius's contribution. We'll be right back with more of the 48th anniversary look of Jaws the movie right after this.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Is Ed Too Tall Jones too tall?
I'm just gonna guesstimate.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Ooh, the flavor of tropical fruits. Ooh la la la. Banana. La, la. Pina colada. Fruit punch. Mango melon. Ooh la la. Tangerine. This is paradise. Ooh la la. So full of life. Save us. Yum.
The average American visits about 7 different websites before booking a hotel.
I totally get that. We want to make sure that we get a great hotel for the best price. But why only 7 when there are so many more out there? Next time, before you book, check on Trivago. Trivago compares live prices from more than 150 different websites to make sure that you find the best price for your ideal hotel. Hotel? Trivago.
Really?
Gotcha! Able to pick up good yardage on the play. You know, the best part of this defense is their defensive line and their interior
Hello?
linebackers.
Hey, who? What's up? Nothing, B. Just watching the game, having a bud. What's up with you? Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud. True. True.
What's up? What's up?
Yo, who's that? Yo! Yo, pick up the phone! Hello?
What's that?
What's up? Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie!
Yo.
What's that?
What's that?
Hold on. Hello? So what's up, B? Watching the game, having a bud. True.
I'll take a Whopper.
Do you desire your pyrotechnically prepared beef to be customized with the addition or subtraction of key ingredients?
No onions, extra pickles.
And do you wish to be transformed into a two-dimensional character with yellow skin?
We have here what appears to be an alien invasion.
And the line between civilization and anarchy is eroding as
Out of
we...
my way, you punks!
Wow!
Lunchtime!
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
Extra pickle, extra ketchup, extra mustard.
How about extra get lost?
What? What's going on?
Aliens have all the fun. Your Highness, your mission is complete.
The world is going Simpsons, and BK is in on it.
I know. All it takes is a touch-tone telephone for you to play Phone Jeopardy at home. And every time you call Phone Jeopardy, you could even win the $1,000 daily prize or the $10,000 grand prize. Where? How to get that point across. Here we go. We're speeding along. Here we go. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and immediately you'll be playing the new, easy Phone Jeopardy. I like the way the card stopped in the middle of all of that, but that's okay. And to start you on your way to winning big, we've included questions from recent Jeopardy shows. Here's a 100... You want to show me the next card too, John? No, just leave them there. She drank the poison that Captain Hook intended for Peter Pan.
Tinkerbell!
Fuck 'em.
Okay, buddy, what do you think of Wilkins coffee? I never tasted it. Now, what do you think of Wilkins?
Jaws has received attention from academic critics. Stephen Heath relates the film's ideological meanings to the then recent Watergate scandal. He argues that Brody represents the white male middle class. There is not a single black and very quickly not a single woman in the film who restores public order, with an ordinary kind of heroism born of fear and decency. Yet Heath moves beyond ideological content analysis to examine Jaws as a signal example of the film as industrial product that sells on the basis of the pleasure of cinema, thus yielding the perpetuation of the industry, which is why part of the meaning of Jaws is to be the most profitable movie. Andrew Britton contrasts the film to the novel's post-Watergate cynicism, suggesting that its narrative alterations from the book Hooper's Survival, the shark's explosive death, helps make it a communal exorcism, a ceremony for the restoration of ideological confidence, and he suggests that the experience of the film is inconceivable without the mass audience's jubilation when the shark is annihilated, signifying the obliteration of evil itself. In his view, Brody serves to demonstrate that individual action by the one just man is still a viable source for social change. Peter Biskin argues that the film does maintain post-Watergate cynicism concerning politics and politicians insofar as the sole villain beside the shark is the town's Venom mayor. Yet he observes that far from the narrative formulas so often employed by new Hollywood filmmakers of the era, involving us versus them, hip counterculture figures versus the man, And the overarching conflict in Jaws does not pit the heroes against authority figures, but against a menace that targets everyone regardless of socioeconomic position. Whereas Britain states that the film avoids the novel's theme of social class conflicts of Amity Island, Biskin detects class divisions in the screen version and argues for their significance. Authority must be restored, he writes, but not by Quint. The seaman's working class toughness and bourgeoisie independence is alien and frightening, irrational and out of control. Hooper, meanwhile, is associated with technology rather than experience, inherited wealth rather than self-made sufficiency, and he is marginalized from the conclusive action, if less terminally than Quint. Britain sees the film more as concerned with the vulnerability of children and the need to protect and guard them, which in turn helps generate a pervasive sense of the supreme value of family life, a value clearly related to ideological stability and cultural continuity. Frederick Jameson's analysis highlights the polysemy of the shark and the multiple ways in which it can be and has been read from representing alien menaces such as communism or the third world to more intimate dreads concerning the unreality of contemporary American life and the vain efforts to sanitize and suppress the knowledge of death. He asserts that its symbolic function is to be found in this very polyseminous, which is profoundly ideological, insofar as it allows essentially show social and historical anxieties to be folded back into apparently natural ones, to be recontained in what looks like a conflict with the other forms of biological existence. He views Quint's demise as the symbolic overthrow of an old, populist New Deal America, and Brody and Hooper's partnership as an allegory of an alliance between the forces of law and order and the new technocracy or the technocracy of the multinational corporations, in which the viewer rejoices without understanding that he or she is excluded from it. Neil Gabler analyzed the film as showing three different approaches to solving an obstacle: science, represented by Hooper; spiritualism, represented by Quint; and the common man, represented by Brody. The last of the three is the one which succeeds and is in that way endorsed by the film. And while in theaters, the film was said to have caused a single case of cinematic neurosis in a 17-year-old female viewer. Cinematic neurosis is a condition in which viewers exhibit mental health disturbances or a worsening of existing mental health disturbances after viewing a film. The symptoms first presented as sleep disturbances and anxiety, but one day later, the patient was screaming, "Sharks! Sharks!" and experiencing convulsions. This case study caused the film to become notable in the medical community alongside The Exorcist for causing stress reactions in its viewers, and was later used in a study by Brian R. Johnson to test how susceptible audiences were to cinematic stress inducers. His study found that stress could be induced by cinema in segments of the general population, and Jaws specifically caused stress reactions in its viewers. While Johnson could not find an exact cause for the stress response in viewers, whether it be the suspense, the gore, or the music production, a 1986 study by G. Sparks found that particularly violent films, including Jaws, tended to cause the most intense reactions in viewers. Well, Universal spent $1.8 million in marketing Jaws, including an unprecedented $700,000 on national television spot advertising. The media blitz included about 24 30-second advertisements airing each night on primetime network TV between June 18th, 1975, and the film's opening 2 days later. And beyond that, in the description of film industry scholar Cyril Kochberg, Universal devised a coordinated a highly innovative plan for a picture marketing, or for the picture's marketing. And as early as 1974, Zanuck, Brown, and Benchley hit the television and radio talk show circuit to promote the paperback edition of the novel and the forthcoming film. The studio and publisher Bantam agreed on a title logo that would appear on both the paperback and in all of the advertising for the film. The centerpieces of the joint marketing strategy were John Williams' theme and the poster image featuring the shark approaching a lone female swimmer. The poster was based on the paperback's cover and had the same artist, Bantam's employee, Roger Castell. The Sininger Advertising Agency spent 6 months designing the poster. The principal, Tony Sininger, explained that no matter what we did, it didn't look scary enough. Sininger ultimately decided that you had to actually go underneath the shark so you could see his teeth. So more merchandise was created to take advantage of the film's release. And in 1999, Graham Turner wrote that Jaws was accompanied by what was probably the most elaborate array of tie-ins, including a soundtrack album, t-shirts, plastic tumblers, a book about the making of the movie. The book the movie was based on: beach towels, blankets, shark costumes, toy sharks, hobby kits, iron-on transfers, games, posters, sharks, tooth necklaces, sleepwear, water pistols, and more. The Ideal Toy Company, for instance, produced a game in which the player had to use a hook to fish out items from the shark's mouth before the jaws closed. Talk about all of the things that they did to make this movie what it is. And here we are 48 years later, the years since its release. Jaws has frequently been cited by film critics and industry professionals as one of the greatest movies of all time. It was number 48 on American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Movies. A list of the greatest American films of all time compiled in 1998. It dropped to number 56 on the 10th anniversary list. AFI also ranked The Shark at number 18 on its list of the 50 best villains. Roy Schneider's line, "You're gonna need a bigger boat," 35th on the list of top 100 movie quotes. Williams' score at 6th on a list of 100 years of film scores, and the film as second on a list of 100 most thrilling films, behind only Psycho. Then in 2003, the New York Times included the film on its list of the best 1,000 movies ever made. The following year, Jaws placed at the top of the Bravo Network's 5-hour miniseries, The 100 Scariest Movie Moments. The Chicago Film Critics Association named it the 6th scariest film ever made in 2006. In 2008, Jaws was ranked the 5th greatest film in history by Empire Magazine, which also placed Quint at number 50 on its list of the 100 greatest movie characters of all time. The film has been cited in many other lists of 50 and 100 greatest films, including ones compiled by Leonard Maltin, Entertainment Weekly, Film 4, Rolling Stone, Total Film, TV Guide, and Vanity Fair. What does that legacy mean? It means that with all the hype and with all the things, happy 48th anniversary to Jaws the movie. Next up, we're going to be looking at the 73rd birthday to Lionel Richie. Happy 73. We'll look at his illustrious career and give you all of his great history as DMS 3000 News Live continues here on June 20th, 2023, Episode 5. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to DMS 3000 News Live. I'm Jason DeCanio, your host for episode 5 here. It is June 20th, 2023. Hope you're having a great morning with that great cup of coffee. We are continuing our look at the events that we're looking at today. A big happy 73rd birthday to Lionel Richie. Also, too, a happy birthday to Burton Richardson, an announcer for The Price is Right and many other great shows, including Steve Harvey's Family Feud. Happy birthday, Burton. We wish you the best. Lionel Brockman Richie Jr., American singer, songwriter, record producer, and television personality. He rose to fame in the 1970s as a songwriter and the co-lead singer of the Motown group The Commodores, writing and recording the hit singles Easy, Sail On, 3 Times a Lady, and Still with the group before his departure. In 1980, he wrote and produced the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 #1 single Lady for Kenny Rogers. In 1981, he wrote and produced the single Endless Love, which he recorded as a duet with Diana Ross. It remains among the top 20 best-selling singles of all time, and the biggest career hit for both artists. In 1982, he officially launched his solo career with the album Lionel Richie, which sold over 4 million copies and spawned the singles You Are, My Love, and the #1 single, Truly. His second album, Can't Slow Down, in 83, reached #1 on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart and sold over 20 million copies worldwide, becoming one of the best-selling albums of all time, and spawned the #1 singles All Night Long and Hello. And then he co-wrote the 1985 charity single We Are the World with Michael Jackson, which sold over 20 million copies. His third album, Dancing on the Ceiling, in 1986, spawned the #1 single Say You, Say Me from the 1985 film White Nights, and the #2 hit title track. From 86 to 96, Richie took a break from recording. He has since then released 7 studio albums. He has joined the singing competition American Idol to serve as a judge, starting from its 16th season, which is 2018 to the present day. During his solo career, he became one of the most successful balladeers of the 80s and has sold over 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the world's best-selling artists of all time. He has won 4 Grammys, including Song of the Year for We Are the World, and Album of the Year for Can't Slow Down. Endless Love was nominated for an Academy Award, and while Say You, Say Me won both the Academy Award and the Golden Globe Award for Best Original Song, in 2016, Richie received the Songwriters Hall of Fame's highest honor, the Johnny Mercer Award. Then, just last year, he received the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song by the Library of Congress, as well as the American Music Awards Icon Award. He was also inducted into the Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2022. He was born on June 20th, 1949 in Tuskegee, Alabama, the son of Lionel Brockman Richie Sr., a U.S. Army systems analyst, and Alberta R. Foster, a teacher and school principal. His grandmother, Adelaide Mary Brown, was a pianist who played classical music. On March 4th, 2011, he appeared on NBC's Who Do You Think You Are?, which found out that his maternal great-grandfather was the national leader of an early Black American fraternal organization. Notably, J. Lewis Brown was principal organizer and supreme grand archon of the Knights of Wise Men, a fraternal organization for Black men in the post-Civil War period. Formed in Nashville in 1879, it was a fraternal insurance and burial benefit society, as were so many others during the period. He grew up on the campus of Tuskegee Institute. Their family home was given to his grandparents as a gift from Booker T. Washington, and he graduated from Joliet Township High School, East Campus in Joliet, Illinois. Star tennis player in Joliet, he accepted a tennis scholarship to attend Tuskegee Institute, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in economics with a minor in accounting. He is considered studying divinity to become a priest in the Episcopal Church, in which he had been baptized, but ultimately decided he was not priest material and decided to continue his musical career despite not knowing how to read or write music. He is a member of Kappa Kappa PSI, a national honor fraternity for band members, and an active life member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Well, as a student in Tuskegee, Richie formed a succession of R&B groups in the mid-'60s. In 1968, he became a singer and saxophonist with the Commodores, and they signed a recording contract with Atlantic Records in 1968 for one record before moving on to Motown, initially as a support act to the Jackson 5. The Commodores then became established as a popular soul group. Their first several albums had a danceable, funky sound, and in such tracks as Machine Gun and Brick House, over time, Richie wrote and sang more romantic, easily listening ballads such as Easy, 3 Times a Lady, Still, and the breakup ballad Sail On. In 1974, Richie achieved his first commercial success as a songwriter with Happy People, which he co-wrote with Jeffrey Bowen and Donald Baldwin. Now, originally intended as a Commodore's track, it was recorded by the Temptations, who had their number one R&B with the song. By the late 1970s, Richie had begun to accept songwriting commissions from other artists. He wrote Lady with Kenny Rogers, which hit number 1 in 1980, and produced Rogers' album Share Your Love the following year. Richie and Rogers maintained a strong friendship in later years. Latin jazz composer and salsa romantica pioneer La Palabra enjoyed international success with his cover of Lady, which he played at Latin dance clubs. Also in 1981, Richie sang the title theme song for the film Endless Love, a duet with Diana Ross, issued as a single, and the song topped the Canada, Brazil, Australia, Japan, New Zealand, and U.S. pop music charts and became one of Motown's biggest hits. Its success encouraged Richie to branch out into a full-fledged solo career in 1982, and he was replaced as lead singer for the Commodores by Skylar Jett in 1983. Now to his solo career in 1982. His first one, Lionel Richie, contained 3 hit singles, the U.S. number 1 song Truly, which continued the style of his ballads, with the Commodores and launched his career as one of the most successful balladeers of the 1980s. And the top 5 hits, You Are and My Love. The album hit number 3 on the music charts and sold over 4 million copies. His 1983 follow-up album, Can't Slow Down, sold over twice as many copies and won 2 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, propelling him into the first rank of international superstars. And the album contained the number 1 hit All Night Long, a Caribbean-flavored dance number that was promoted by a colorful music video produced by former Monkey Michael Nesmith. In 1984, he performed All Night Long at the ending ceremony of the 23rd Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Several more top 10 hits followed, the most successful of which was the ballad Hello in 1984, a sentimental love song that showed how far he had moved from his R&B roots. Richie had 3 more top 10 hits in 84, Stuck on You, number 3, Running with the Night, number 7, and Penny Lover, number 8, as well as writing and producing Missing You for former label mate and duet partner Diana Ross, number 10 in the pop and number 1 in the R&B. In 1985, he wrote and performed Say You, Say Me for the film White Nights, and the song won an Academy Award and reached number 1 on the U.S. charts, staying there for 4 weeks, making it the number 2 song of 1986, according to Billboard's year-end Hot 100 chart, behind the charity single That's What Friends Are For by Dion and Friends. He also collaborated with Michael Jackson on the charity single We Are the World by USA for Africa, another number 1 hit. 1986, he released Dancing on the Ceiling, his last wildly popular album, which produced a run of 5 US and UK hits. Say You, Say Me, number 1. Dancing on the Ceiling, You, number 2. Love Will Conquer All, number 9. Ballerina Girl, number 7. And Selah, number 20. He made his return to recording and performing following the release of his first greatest hits collection, Back to Front, in 1992. Since then, his ever more relaxed schedule has kept his recording and live work to a minimum. He broke the silence in 1996 with Louder Than Words, on which he resisted any change of style or the music fashion hopping of the past decade, sticking instead with his chosen path of well-crafted soul music, which in the intervening years has become known as contemporary R&B. His albums in the late 90s, such as Louder Than Words and Time, failed to match the commercial success of his earlier work. Some of his recent albums, such as Renaissance and Just For You, have returned to his older style and achieved success in Europe, but only modest notice in the United States. He was the headliner at a 2006 4th of July tribute concert with Fantasia Barrino at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. On May 7th of 2006, Ritchie performed on the main stage, Acura stage, at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, replacing Antone Fats Domino, who had fallen ill. He also released his 8th studio album titled Coming Home on September 12, 2006. The first single of the album was called I Call It Love and was premiered in July of 2006, becoming his biggest hit in the U.S. in 10 years. The album was a success for Ritchie in the United States, peaking at number 6. May 2nd of 2008, Ritchie was the 21st recipient of the George and Ira Gershwin Lifetime Achievement Award at UCLA's annual Spring Sing. Now, accepting the award, Ritchie said, "Forget about surviving 30-some-odd years in the music business. Lionel Richie survived 27 years of Nicole Richie." In May of 2009, Ritchie announced that he would like to get the Commodores back together soon. An album, Just Go, was released in 2009. On July 7th of the same year, he performed Jesus Is Love at Michael Jackson's memorial service. He returned to Australia in 2011, where he and guest artist Guy Sebastian toured the country, and New Zealand with concert dates throughout March and April. Ritchie and Guy Sebastian recorded Ritchie's 1983 number 1 single All Night Long together to raise money for Australian floods and New Zealand earthquake relief. Then on March 26, 2012, he released his 10th studio album, Tuskegee, which featured 13 of his hit songs performed as duets with country stars. And the album returned him to the top of the Billboard 200 chart, his first number 1 album there since Dancing on the Ceiling, and achieved platinum status within 6 weeks of release. Then on June 28th, 2015, he played to an audience of between 100 and 120,000 people at the Glastonbury Festival, England. His show was described as triumphant by the BBC and was followed by his return to the top of the UK albums chart with a reissued compilation album of his work as both a solo artist and with the Commodores. In September of 2017, ABC announced that Ritchie would be a judge for the revival of American Idol. He's been a judge on the reboot for 4 seasons and was scheduled to appear for his 5th in 2022. He was honored at Berklee College of Music during its 2017 commencement in May. There was a commencement concert when graduating students performed a medley of his discography. He was also awarded an honorary doctorate of music. On December 3rd of 2017, he received the Kennedy Center honors. In October of the same year, it was reported that Ritchie had secured the rights to produce a Curtis Mayfield biopic. March 25th, 2019, he announced a 33-date tour across North America for the summer. His Hello Tour started in May at Arlington's Kaboo Festival and ran through August. And then in May of 2023, He was invited to be a headline at an act at Windsor Castle for the coronation concert in celebration of the coronation of Charles III and Camilla. Richie is the first global ambassador and first chairman of the Global Ambassador Group for the Prince's Trust. He's also popular in various Arab states and has performed in Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Libya. John Berman for ABC News reported in 2006 that grown Iraqi men get misty-eyed from the mere mention of his name. I love Lionel Richie, they say. They can sing an entire Lionel Richie song. Berman wrote that Richie said he was told that Iraqi civilians were playing all night long, and the night U.S. tanks invaded Baghdad. Richie was against the war, and he said he would like to perform in Baghdad someday. Well, his awards and honors are just truly amazing. Richie has won 4 Grammy Awards, including Song of the Year in '85 for We Are the World, which he co-wrote with Michael Jackson. The Album of the Year in 1984 for Can't Slow Down. Producer of the Year, Non-Classical in 1984, and the Best Male Pop Vocal Performance for Truly in 1982. Richie was the first person to receive an RIAA Diamond Album Award, and he has been nominated for 2 Golden Globe Awards and won 1. Then in 1982, he was nominated for Best Original Song for the film Endless Love. In '86, he was nominated and won the award for Best Original Song for the song Say You, Say Me, featured in the film White Nights. The song also won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. And there you have it, friends. Happy 73rd birthday to Lionel Richie. May you continue to have many more birthdays, many more celebrations, and we always love your music forever and ever. Well, next up on the program, coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll look at the best beaches in every state. I'm hoping to be joined by Brandon Martin, who will be the host of the DMS3000 News Live for the next 3 days. He picks up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays, and then you and me come back on Mondays and Tuesdays every week to have this great time together here on DMS3000 News Live and the David3000 News Network. We will be back with more right after this.
Pizza Hut's stuffed crust is the crust that made crust good. Topped and stuffed with over a half-pound of cheese. What are you so afraid of? Loving it? Original stuffed crust, just $12.99. Only from Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
McDonald's hotcakes for breakfast. Fresh cooked and deliciously light. Served with whipped butter and syrup. Moorish. And only $1.95.
Snack time, McDonald's. Snack time.
Hello?
Get Jason warming up.
Excuse me?
Come on, guys, quit playing games. Get Bobby up right now.
I think you might have the wrong number.
What? Who's this?
Who's this? Brother, you called me. You got the wrong number,
Hey,
okay?
I don't know what you guys doing.
Freak.
This is Brad. He's using Roadrunner High-Speed Online to play along with Game Show Network's lingo on GSN.com. He got it for just $34.95 a month for 6 months. Brad hasn't left his room since. When Brad signed up for Roadrunner, he was entered to win a 51-inch Sony high-def TV. And they're trying to deliver it now.
Hey, Brad, open the door.
Sign up for Roadrunner today. You'll save money and have a chance to win one of these great Sony prizes from Game Show Network.
At Cheez-It, we expect a lot from our cheese.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cheese.
Interrupting.
Cheese!
Should have seen that one coming.
You should have, because that was... I even told you I was going to be interrupting you. Morning, sir. Beautiful day, isn't it?
We take the time for our cheese to mature before we bake it into every delicious cracker. Because at Cheez-It, real cheese matters.
Night and day, the calls. Save me this, save me that. I'm a gecko, not Geico. So stop calling me.
Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
So you want to change your name? People confusing you with Geico, calling you at all hours? What name would you like?
Komodo Dragon, please. Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
Aflac. The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac. Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Hey, Guy Fieri here. As host of TV's Ultimate Recipe Showdown, I see great home cooks face off every week. We looked at thousands of recipes, and now the dishes inspired by our champions are all at Fridays. People spent years perfecting these. There's so much going on here. Smokiness, sweetness, big seasoning, big flavor. You gotta check this out. Ultimate Recipe Showdown menu starting at just $8.99. Give me more Fridays.
From Hasbro Gaming. Where will your choices take you in the game of life? What job will you choose?
To start filling my law firm with clients and stop filling your faces with donuts. Now get out! I'm definitely going to be a lawyer.
But watch out for life surprises.
Whoa, I'm having twins.
Congratulations! It's twins! Anything can happen in the game of life. From Hasbro Gaming. Here's 2 more. Good luck with that.
The best beaches in every state always seem to have everybody wondering who is the best overall. Well, we're going to find out right now. And while you may not actually be able to surf at every single one of these beaches, it's pretty incredible that every state in the United States has something to offer in terms of sand, surf, and sun. Which beach is in your next vacation spot? Scroll through our list to find the perfect destination for you. And depending on where you end up, consider booking one of these amazing beach house rentals. Let's start with Alabama and Orange Beach. Well, there's an amusement park and arcade and the opportunity to catch marlin and red snapper on a fishing excursion and a Ferris wheel. And that's not all. One of the most distinctive attractions here is flyboarding. Other popular sports and activities at Orange Beach include taking sunset dolphin cruises, sailing and diving down to the state's first deliberately sunk ship wreckage, says the crazy tourist. And here are more crowd-free summer vacations you can book at the last minute as well. Next up is Alaska, Black Sand Beach, Barry Arm. And unlike any other beach in America, and possibly the world, Black Sand Beach is as advertised, which makes it striking. But what makes it a supremely unique destination is the water cascading down from the hanging glaciers, sea life playing among the icebergs, and a commanding view of Barry Arm per Alaska.org. This Alaska beach is only a quarter-mile long, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in icebergs stranded on the sand. Alaska isn't the only place with this special sand. There are 12 more around the world. In Arizona, Rotary Beach, Lake Havasu. Yes, Lake Havasu is massive, famous, and a consistent spring break destination. Of all the beaches along this famous body of water between Arizona and California, the sandy beach of the Rotary Community Park is the best, with a great green space, easy access to swimming, a trio of playgrounds, and sports parks for volleyball, bocce, and skateboarding. Now, if you're in Arkansas, Caddo Bend, the Gray Lake Resort State Park is your place. The official website tempts visitors to Caddo Beach with the promise of a sand beach perfect for family outings and a designated swimming area that is off limits to personal watercraft and boats. This popular spot, less than an hour from either Little Rock or Hot Springs, also has picnic tables scattered under the tree canopies to provide plenty of shade during your day at Arkansas's best beach. Don't forget to pack the best family beach games in your beach bag. Now let's go over to California and look at Treasure Island Beach, Laguna Beach. Basically, the entire left side of California is a beach, so there's a sandy patch to suit every need. For our money, we love the idea of a West Coast love story, high Hollywood drama, and a sliver of isolation in a busy world. Coastal Living describes Treasure Island Beach in Laguna this way: glittering Pacific views, towering cliffs that provide a sense of complete seclusion, and a secret cove make Treasure Island Beach one of California's most romantic beaches. We couldn't agree more. Laguna is magnificent, as are these 15 beaches worth visiting this year. Oh, and I have with me Brandon Martin. Wow. Let's see. There you go. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jason.
How are you? I hope we didn't get you up too early.
No,
You know?
it's fine. I just had to splash water in my face, get my hair slicked, and be ready for this bad boy.
Well, fantastic. We were just going through the best beaches in every state. Do you have a particular favorite beach in your area?
Oh gosh, I would say probably in my state, the coast, the Oregon coast.
The Oregon coast. You get there? Do you get there a lot?
Well, not as much right now, but I did back then.
Oh, okay. So now, as we speak, you will be taking over the next 3 days, or I think he's got you slated for Saturday as well. But if that's a mistake, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be your regular schedule on the DMS3000 News Live, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct, Jason.
Yep. So we're looking forward to seeing you take the mic over for the next 3 days, getting up at around 8 o'clock, 7 Central or Mountain. Where you go by? You guys go by Pacific time still, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Oh, my goodness. So for all of those who don't know who Brandon Martin is one of our announcers for various game shows on the David3000 Network. He is also the host of Super Password and many other things. What other things are you doing right now other than what I just mentioned?
Basically, on my channel, I do co-host the Rant Rate podcast every Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 p.m. Pacific on my channel.
Mm-hmm. And you're also with Jordy and those guys making a lot of mischief, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, hey, that's great. That's fantastic. So you guys are coming up with close to almost the 200th episode, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Woo! And it's going to be a big blowout. I hear it's a surprise guest, and you guys are not even telling anybody what's going on as far as
that's it.
Yeah, so folks, as far as they're concerned, they're not even telling the other guys on the panel who's going to be the guest because they don't want it leaked out.
That is true.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that's great. So, and I hear now, you are a sports announcer for your high school, I think it is, or elementary school.
High school, yes.
High school, and you're on summer break right now, right? And going back in August.
Yep, that is right.
Fantastic. So hopefully this year you'll be able to get some good games called and maybe a winning season again, right?
Oh yes, for sure.
So what was like last year? Did you guys win a championship, or was it what the coach did not expect it to be? Hopefully,
Well, basically, it wasn't just us on that one, unfortunately, because I mean, sure, for like the fall season, we did make it to a playoff one in slow pitch softball, but yeah, things didn't go well for us in that one. But it is what it is. But hopefully, this coming season could be a better one.
mm-hmm. Yeah, well, things can only get better every year. You learn some things of what you didn't accomplish last year, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But you yourself, how did you get involved with becoming their sports announcer?
So basically, when I was in high school, coming up senior year, I asked one of my business teachers at the time, which is Mr. Tuvey, see if I want to get into PA announcing. And then, however, and Usher had asked permission, all those other things, which now he's my boss right now,
Right.
knowing a lot to go through. And then I went through the likes of Joe Thompson, along with John Lauk, Eric Olson, the current play-by-play for the Hermiston Bulldogs for KOHU.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of great mentors taking me through the ropes, everything else.
Nice. And that's what you need. You need mentors and people who will inspire you to be your best. And you have accomplished that. And how long you've been their announcer now for?
Basically, for this one, I would say this is basically my 8th season.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you become a staple around the campus, and you just can't get away from your from where you once took classes, and now you're dealing with students coming in from the woodwork here, and nurturing new students, and hopefully maybe one day they'll ask you to do a PA class or something. Maybe you'll be able to teach. That'd be
Oh, yeah.
fantastic, because if you can put that in, if they can put that in part of the curriculum, that'd be fantastic,
I know, right?
So that is fantastic news. And what's the weather like over there in Oregon today?
For today, it's going to be another cool one. Probably going to be in the mid to upper 60s in this one. And with that, going in tomorrow, it's going to be warming up because the start of summer is tomorrow.
Yeah, first day of summer, and that's why we were talking about beaches before you came in. We didn't, we was up to California beaches, but yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, everybody's down here in Florida they've already started. Spring break is when usually a summer happens here because it's so hot around the time. But yeah, the official first day of summer is tomorrow, folks. And don't forget, National Smoothie Day is tomorrow. So if you happen to be at a Planet Smoothie or a Tropical Smoothie Cafe or wherever you get your famous shakes or something of that sort, please do go to a smoothie place and have a smoothie on National Smoothie Day. You will not regret it because they're doing some fantastic promotional offers as well. So you might be able to make a donation to a worthy cause and have a lunar lemonade on Planet Smoothie's behalf for only $1. That's pretty, So
yeah.
Don't forget that tomorrow, as they say. So how are you going to approach what's coming up on tomorrow's show? Do you want to give a preview of what you're going to have in store for us tomorrow, or do you have any ideas? I know you're asking me about the format and everything. If you do your format the way you want to. I mean, don't copy me, as they always say to every game show host coming after them.
That will be tuned in for tomorrow for you guys to find out.
Oh, he's keeping it a secret, folks, just like they always do. But don't forget, if you're going to do that, cut some promos today. During the day, come on here and just come into the studio and cut some promos, and then do a live one, and all should be fine.
For sure.
We've got Cypress TV in here today. How's everyone? Well, we're doing fine. Bofas on the sofas. Cowabunga, welcome in. We had Jester in Chains. He was over here for the 8 o'clock hour. And, yeah, the poor guy's Astros lost a big game against the Mets. So, what are you going to do, you know?
Oh,
But
yeah.
we're very excited to have you as part of the team here. And, you know, I look forward to watching you a little bit and see how you do. I might make some stuff off of you. You never know. But everybody should do it the way they feel comfortable. And if something is important to announce or to expose, is this a spin off of Rant? Well, I don't think so. But you have to ask Brandon that question.
Well, again, that's for me to know and you to find out there, both.
You to find out, friends. That's right. So for the guys on Bofas on the Sofas, you're just going to have to tune in the next couple of days. It's rave, no rant. Well, you know what they always say, if you cannot get away from the shows that you are doing in the past and the previous stuff, because it's just become one of those things that every Thursday night is a staple at 8 o'clock, right? You guys are 8 o'clock to 10?
That's right, yes.
Woo! 2 hours with Jordy and the guys. I tell you, I don't know how you guys put up with each other without killing each other over the screens, you know?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, tell us about how that came about, the Rant and Rave show.
Yeah.
How did it all start, you know?
Yeah, basically, we were originally going to do was go in the review from the beginning of WCW Monday Nitros and in their pay-per-view.
Right.
Go through that. But it took too long for that. So, however, we decided to come up with our own podcast, which is, of course, the Rants and Rave podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And we did our first show, which is before that second year in a row of the worst WWE pay-per-view, which it came into basically the worst main event ending to a pay-per-view, to be exact, which it was WWE Hell in the Cell 2019.
Wow. That's when it all started for you guys, 2019, huh? So it's been 4 years and 93 shows later. And how do you guys come up with the material that you guys are going to talk about? I know you guys talk about wrestling a lot, and then you guys give each one of you an individual report or something to rant and rave about towards the end of the program. But how do you fill all that gap in between to fill 2 hours of a program? Because I noticed I was watching you guys some nights, and some nights it looks like you guys were getting bombarded by the comments. Other times you were right on the hip and a pip, and then other times you just completely had a total rant that just took the whole 2 hours, depending on what show and who you wanted to get off each other's chest,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, how do you guys figure out, do you guys, because you're on every week, do you guys have a big meeting? Do you meet up 2 days before or an hour before? What's the deal? And here's an interesting question for you. Have you guys met in person yet?
Well, actually, we haven't, but I know even though the other person does not count, but I actually met another YouTuber in my home state of Oregon.
Uh-huh.
Even though he's not part of the team.
That's for sure, right? Yeah. It's amazing because I've told everybody here, and I've even told everybody on the 3000 Network and on my old YouTube channels, that none of us have ever physically met anybody, yet we are talking live right now, interactive here on the show, face to face. I see you, you see me, but we can't shake hands. We can't, fist bump. We can't do anything that literally has a physical badoom to it, and oh yeah, and they call you the big blob. That's it. You're gonna be the big blob, Brandon Martin blob. But again, it goes back to what we said before. There is no physical interaction at all. And everybody's saying, how many friends do you have? I said, I've got friends. I've got friends on the internet that I have not met, and yet I've known them for 12 years. It's like, really? Okay, for sure. Now I've interacted with all of us in the game show community. I'm like, wow, this is great. So I say we need to I refer to another big blob. Oh, he was referring to another one. I thought he was referring.
I know what Bofa's talking about.
And now, have you been on Bofa's on the Sofa show, or?
I haven't, but I always check in on live chat. Just watch show every off and on.
Yeah, they need to come on and basically promote themselves and start, maybe they need to come on our show, and if they're on at this time in the morning, guys, and, start promoting your channel. I mean, you guys, I've seen your show. It's fantastic. Very interesting. But I'm wondering if you guys have special guests or you want people to come on and talk. I don't know how they do that. Every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So tonight, this afternoon at 5 o'clock, Bofa's on the Sofas. That's going to be interesting for what it's worth there. So, yeah, my goodness. So, let's see. We've got 15 minutes to kill here. The bringing to the table, as they say. They used to do special guests during the flicks with the dicks.
Yep. That's definitely true.
Okay. Wow. I guess they have special segments on that show that just you can't. It's too dirty for TV or something. I don't know.
Probably. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Well, Super Password was fantastic last night. I tell you, what a tournament of champions you are having in the second week. I'm not going to give away anything from the TOC, just to say that I did win, actually. They were all betting. Them son of a guys were all betting against me, saying, "No, DeCanio's not going to get far. You watch. He's not going to get far." And David, you're going to eat your words on that one there. Come next week. But I did it. I made it through. I just couldn't get through the damn bonus round. Boy, those were some tough words. But you know what I need to fix? And again, maybe this is something we need to collaborate, is to make sure that everybody has a good working microphone and really speaks loud and clear, and keep emphasizing that you're doing a fantastic job with the emphasis on letting everybody hear perfectly. Because yes, I know sometimes our computer connections are not the best.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the audio card needs to be updated every once in a while, folks. Go out there and get yourself a great mixer, some headphones, and a good microphone. I don't know how some people can do it with the earbuds. I don't know. Somehow they hear perfectly with them. I don't like earbuds. They always slip out of my ears. I think I got too much wax in my ears or something of that sort. I don't know, but that's what you need to have, just in case, just a little bit of a backup for it. And then, yesterday's tapings went late. Oh my goodness. It was like 3 shows I was on. I did Joker's Wild, I did Blockbusters, and then I was on Wheel of Fortune, where I got my butt handed to me by the ever popular Zach the Artist. Oh my gosh. Yes, Zach the Artist. I think the man needs to go on Wheel of Fortune before Pat Sajak retires and get on there and win some serious money. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you know what? That's true. He can do that.
I tell you, Brandon, we have a fantastic lineup of game show in our community. We have game show contestants, celebrity, guys who can do roles as celebrities. The one thing I would love to see is, let's see if anybody wants to step up and become a new host. That's going to be the question of everybody is it's like, oh, but I can't host. I can't do that. Yes, you can. Look, if you have a YouTube channel, you are a host. You host your own YouTube channels. You can do it. You can do it, man. You can do it.
Yes.
I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I'm hosting Blockbusters, Joker's Wild, and 3 YouTube channels, and going on 14 years. This is this was the break actually that I was waiting for sometime 13 years ago, when I first started with the Jason DeCanio show that went on Ustream a long time ago, and now here it is 13 years later. Sometimes it's just, I don't know. It's something waiting in the tricks. I mean, when did you get the first break for you on, coming onto the internet?
I got to say there, but basically, I started out July of 2011.
Same, almost with me. Yeah, that's about the same time. My show debuted in 2009 and went to 2015, 453 episodes. But it didn't take but almost 2 years to get to that point and then everybody started watching it and everybody started interacting. It took like the third season for me to finally get people to listen and to watch and to interact. I don't know, because they felt there was a little skepticism in there or something. But you took it off right at 2011. I think that was the heart of when everybody was doing shows back then.
Oh yeah,
son of a gun. So that sums it up in a nutshell, folks. 2011. Remember that it's a red letter year. It's a red letter date. And now that I'm on hiatus until September, I'm just chilling back. Gonna be on. We got Brian. We got Cole Johnson coming up at 10 o'clock because Brian Snow's on vacation this week. He'll be back around the 26th of June. So he'll be back next Monday. So Cole Johnson's taking over for the next 2 hours. Who knows what that man's going to be talking about? He's probably going to be talking about the baseball scores from last night. Mm-hmm. By the way, how did we do audio-wise on the Super Password? I know you were listening to it last night, making some edits and cuts.
I'd say when I checked back, while I was away, I think it went pretty good. Gameplay went good.
Yeah, and I just have that. I was trying to go to lunch, and you are the toughest one. It's like, no, you got the pronunciation right, but the order wrong. No, you say Matt Vasconcelos, Vasconcelos, Matt V.
I know.
I am biting my tongue while we're messaging each other. I'm like, Brandon, come on! I just closed the dang thing out. And I'm trying to just keep it cool, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm hungry. And he's like, no, get it right. Until I finish it right. Folks, put it this way, Brandon Martin is all order. He is all order. He may be mayhem and chaos, but he is still order. Get it right or don't get it right, and get it right for the 15,000th time before you do something else.
Yeah.
So, and I said, finally I got it right, folks. I said, I'm going to lunch. And he's like, all righty. And he just, that's, Yes, he is my boss, too, on Super Password. I have to follow the rules of it here. When the host is the boss. And whatever the boss wants is what the boss gets. So you got to play peekaboo, you're going to play peekaboo. We're going to play Twister, we're going to play Twister, God willing, whatever the case may be. But that was just, that name is, and I even told Matt, I said, where'd you get a name like Vasconcelos? I'm like, God, geez. He says, yeah, if you had to say it in a mouthful, it's just better off you just call me Matt V. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to start doing from now on. From now on, because that's just so, we get tongue-tied off of that stuff there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up this show. I thank you very much, Brandon, for coming on just for the half hour, 20 minutes to there. You got anything to tell our viewing audience before you leave for tomorrow's first show?
Like I said before, you got to tune in and find out.
All right. Well, we'll see you on here in this position. Maybe not in this background, God willing, if you want to come to Florida and get away from that cool weather and come over here and get some tan, some brown, whatever you want, because we got hot weather here. It's going to be like in the high 80s today. Ugh. And they're already threatening hurricanes, so why not, right?
Yeah.
But wish you the best of luck on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Give us a good show. And like I said, I'm going to get some commercials in. If you want to put some commercials and make a commercial cut, put some new ones in, and then take out the old ones, because you have the controls as well too. He even gave you your own intro too with your picture on it, you know?
Yes.
David's so nice. He does everything for us. If we ask him nicely, if we bend his glasses a little bit, he fills it. So that's good. All right, Brandon, I'll let you get back to prepping for the show tomorrow. You have yourself a fantastic day and break a leg, man.
Yes, I will, Jason.
All right. Thank you very much. There you have it, folks. Brandon Martin. And he will be the host of DMS 3000 News Live, episode 6, 7, and 8 this week. And now we'll be back with you guys next week on Monday and Tuesday for 9 and 10. From all of us here at the David3000 Network, I am Jason DeCanio. This is DMS 3000 News Live. Stay tuned for Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Remember, Cole Johnson's going to be filling in for Brian Snow, who is officially on vacation. That's from 10 to 12. And today also we have on the lineup, we have Blockbusters coming up at 1:30 and a whole bunch of other great stuff later on in the program. So keep it tuned here on the David3000 Network. There's a whole lineup of shows in the summer schedule. And again, if you'd like to be a part of our great growing family of subscribers and you haven't subscribed, please do so. We would love to have you as part of the family. From all of us here, I'm Jason DeCanio. Have a great morning. We will see you, or I'll see you next week. You're going to see Brandon tomorrow. For now, good night. Good day.
Bye.